Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ghost with another episode of True Conservative Republican Radio. Now, yesterday was my first show, and we were discussing the feminist movement and how it has asserted the absolute pussification of the American male. And we got sidetracked a little bit in the show by talking about Ron Paul and his influence on the campaign trail. And, I had such an outpour of response. I had over about 50 or 60 emails. A lot of them supporting my political persuasion, others a lot of hate, filth. But, the thing that it inspired me to do was to come back on here and, to go ahead and do another show here on Blog Talk Radio. I'm a true conservative Republican. And I'd like to, stimulate debate about Republican values and that sort of thing. So anyway, if you tuned into me last night, I really appreciate it. We had unbelievable numbers. And at the same time, had an unbelievable response. So I really appreciate all who tuned in last night. Today we're going to talk about something completely different. We're actually going to talk about the Republican and Democratic primaries and how it's just absolute political theater. And there's no clear front runner in this year's campaign. I mean, maybe on the Democrat side, you got the media pumping Barack Obama. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But it seems pretty much open in the air for anyone to come in and basically clean up shop. And if you happen to be tuning into us, we'd like to hear your candidate and the reasons why you believe that this candidate will be viable in this coming presidential elections. And you can give us a call here at 646-652-4869. Give us a call. We were talking a little bit about Ron Paul yesterday indirectly. I feel that Ron Paul is a kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing, so to speak. I think he is a very dangerous man to the Republican Party, and I stated this yesterday. Why the Republican Party allowed Ron Paul to run under the Republican cloak is beyond me. I mean, this is a man who ran under the Libertarian Party in the 80s, and he's been able to generate large amounts of capital. And what Ron Paul's ulterior motive, in my view, is he's going to actually utilize all the capital generated under the disguise of the Republican Party and use it against the Republican Party. And how this was able to take place is beyond me. As a true conservative Republican, I got to just look at and just be a little bamboozled that Ron Paul was allowed to participate in the Republican debates. He was allowed to even run under the Republican cloak. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And anybody who doesn't see that Ron Paul is not going to, not only is he not going to be the Republican nominee, and he knows it, but he could possibly be a man that's going to run under a third-party ticket, probably the Libertarian Party, utilize all the capital generated under the disguise of the Republican Party to siphon away Republican votes. And what sickens me about this is that you've got young Republicans buying into this, borderline left-wing, long-hair, liberal, bedwetting hippie garbage that Ron Paul is spewing out of his hole. I mean, how can the Republicans allow this to happen? I just don't understand it. But anyway, that's yesterday's program kind of went in that direction because we had a couple of Ron Paul supporters in here that, insisted on talking about him. So we went in that direction, and that's why we're going to talk about the primaries today. So whoever your candidate is, give me a call. Let me know why it's your candidate. Let me know why you're going to support your presidential nominee. And let me know what's going on. 646-652-4869. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, I want to know. I want to know why you support your candidate. As a true conservative Republican, I don't see a clear front runner in the Republican race, in my view. I mean, you got a lot of people that have good viewpoints when it comes to international relations on the Republican side. Like I agree with John McCain's international relations policy. I agree a little bit with Giuliani's international relations and foreign policy. But both these men are social liberals. They are social liberals. And you know, I don't understand how you can be so socially liberal and yet so conservative when it comes to your foreign policy. I mean, there's no middle ground. There's no clear-cut winner. There's no clear-cut winner whatsoever. If you watch the previous Republican debates, the last Republican debates, I was kind of astonished to hear Fred Thompson finally break out of his shell and say, hey, wait a minute. We need to settle down some problems. He called out Mike Huckabee. And believe me, I like Mike Huckabee too. I like the fact that Mike Huckabee is a social conservative, but I don't like the fact that he's liberal when it comes to his governing policies. And this is what I liked about Fred Thompson in the last debates. He basically called out Mike Huckabee and said, wait, sir, you're a liberal, and this is why you're a liberal. You want more government, you want more bureaucracy, you want higher taxes, you want to spend more of the government's money. And Mike Huckabee, he was tongue-twisted. He didn't know what to say. He kind of looked like he was backpedaling there for a little bit. But like I said, as a true conservative, I don't understand why there's not a clear-cut leader. I mean, it's like the best of two evils with the Republican Party right now. You know, you got somebody like Mike Huckabee who's a social conservative, and yet he's a liberal when it comes to his governing policies. Then you've got McCain, who I agree with in his international relations policies, but he's soft on the border. Not only is he soft on the border, he's a social liberal himself. I mean, Giuliani, the same thing. But I have to tell you, the last debates, I have to take a second look at Fred Thompson. I really liked what he talked about, how to settle this illegal immigration problem. And if you weren't lucky enough to tune in, he basically said that what the federal government should do to put a halt to this immigration problem here is to actually cut funding. Cut federal funding to sanctuary cities. And it makes a lot of sense to me. You know, it'll actually reverse the process. I mean, if you cut federal funding to local sanctuary cities, it'll give the sanctuary cities a financial incentive to finally get these immigrants and stop the illegal activity that's gone on too long. It's gone on way too long. And that was one issue that he won me over on, was the border. Anyway, 646-652-4869 is the number to call. We want to know your candidate. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, we want to know your candidate and why. Now, the Democrats, I tell you, these liberal long hairs, I mean, it's just pathetic on the Democratic side. I mean, the Democrats are throwing so much mud at each other that they're basically doing the Republicans' dirty work for them. I mean, they're basically, I mean, this is the gist of the campaigns of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, okay? If you don't like Hillary Clinton, you're a sexist, misogynist, pig, jerk ass. If you don't like Obama, you're a racist piece of garbage, all right? I mean, that's basically the platform of both campaigns. And another thing I don't like about the Democrats, and if you happen to be a Democrat listening, I challenge you, get the testicular or the intestinal fortitude right now to give me a call, 646-652-4869. Give me a call and tell me why you people on the left over there are blindly supporting Barack Obama when he hasn't even been forthcoming about his whole political platform. I have no idea what this man's about, and yet the media gives him so much coverage. I mean, it makes me want to throw up. It makes me want to puke up every time I see Barack Obama up on a stage touting, hey, change, 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 change. What are you going to change, Obama? I mean, you haven't even I don't even know anything about this man. And let me tell you, the only thing I do know about Barack Obama is that his name is Barack Hussein Obama. He attended a madrasa when he was 9 years old, or I don't know the exact age, when he was a young child. I understand that he wants to tuck tail and, get out of Iraq. And I also understand that he wants to open up a dialogue with a country that's responsible for 75% of the world's terror. And that's Iran. Other than that, I know nothing else about this man. So if you're a Barack Obama supporter and you're listening in, I challenge you to give me a call right now, 646-652-4869. I mean, I want you to give me a call right now. And we've got somebody in the chat room here in the web chat, 70 Soul Child, saying, well, we're just following the example of the whites in this country. Take note, Mr. Charlie. Now, what kind of divisive, separatist type of response was that, 70 Soul Child? I mean, come on. I mean, we don't need a separate country based on gender, based on race. I mean, it's just sad. It's just absolutely sad what the Democrats are doing to this country. You know, I don't respect anybody on the Democrat side, but you know, there is one candidate on the Democrat side. I am completely, fundamentally in opposition with this man, all right? I am in complete opposition with this man. I disagree with every one of his policies. I think he's a borderline socialist. But what I do believe is he's probably the single candidate on the Democrat side that has integrity, and that's Dennis Kucinich. Dennis Kucinich, I fundamentally disagree with everything he has to say, but at least he means what he says, and he says what he means. And what are the Democrats doing? They're not doing anything. They're not even endorsing this man. That's what's unfortunate. You know, here you got a man with integrity like Dennis Kucinich, who's basically saying what he means and means what he says, and you got the Democrats backing up a man, Barack Obama, who we don't even know what his political platform is, and they're blindly supporting this idiot based on one word. Oh, change. Change, change, change. That's just ridiculous. And then you got Hillary Clinton. Oh, my God. Good Lord. I mean, do we really even need to talk about this disgusting, cackling piece of garbage, Hillary Clinton? I mean, are you serious? It's just disgusting. And, yeah, you know what? Croft, C.Y. Croft, just posted in the room that the guy who doesn't put his hand over his heart during the national anthem. Yeah, and he doesn't want to put the American flag on his suit lapel because he's better. He's better than everybody else. He doesn't salute the American flag. I mean, what is this garbage? You Democrats? Can you please, one of you Democrats that are blindly supporting this man, I'd like for you to give me a call right now, 646-652-4869. Give me a call. I want to know. 70 Soul Child, I want you to give me a call, all right? Tell me why you support this man. Tell me what his political platform is. I mean, like I said, the only person with any kind of integrity on the left is Dennis Kucinich, and you people are just brushing him off like a piece of trash. You're just brushing him off like a piece of garbage. Well, I'm assuming, I was just assuming by your comments there, 70 Soul Child, that you supported the man. Anyway, I'm challenging all you Democrats, you left-wing liberal long hairs, 646-652-4869. Tell me why you're supporting Barack Obama. If you're one of these Hillary fans, I'd like to know why you're supporting Hillary Clinton. Ron Paul. Oh, I've already gotten started on Ron Paul. Let me tell you, Ron Paul is a damn liberal in conservative Republican clothing. And I don't understand why the Republican Party allowed this man to run on the Republican ticket and give him a platform to spew his borderline liberal long-hair garbage. I mean, isolationism? We should just tuck tail and not only leave Iraq, not only leave Afghanistan, leave everywhere in the international community. I mean, that's his solution. He's, oh, yeah, I mean, let's just tuck tail and just come back home, and they'll go away. I mean, don't you understand? We had a foreign policy like that. It was during the Bill Clinton administration. Remember, Bill Clinton had the just ignore them and they'll go away approach with the terrorists? Remember that? I'm sure you don't because, you know, Everybody likes to believe that Bill Clinton was the greatest thing to slice bread, but he actually emboldened the terrorists with his lack of response, with his lack of military response to the terrorists. He emboldened them. You know it and I know it. Why wasn't there any kind of military response after the first World Trade Center attack? I don't know. But you know what? I'll give Clinton the benefit of the doubt for that. He was only in the office for about a month. Great. And then you had the Mogadishu incident, Black Hawk Down. Remember that? Osama bin Laden said that was the single moment in history that encouraged him to perpetuate terrorism on the United States, because he actually believed that if he inflicted enough terrorism on the United States, that he was going to dictate our foreign policy. And it was because of the Black Hawk Down incident. No military recourse by Clinton. And then you had the attacks in Africa on the barracks. And then you had the USS Cole bombing, and all this man could do was send a couple of cruise missiles to Afghanistan to explode an aspirin factory. So we've already tried this, all right? We've already tried this, just ignore them and they'll go away approach, and they don't go away, all right? And if you honestly believe that if we tucked tail and left everywhere across the international community, we just abandoned our bases in the international community, that somehow they're just going to go away and everybody's going to, be peachy keen in the international community and everybody's going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, you're wrong, and you know it. Well, that's my point there, soul child. I'm telling you right now that Kucinich is the only one on the left that has any kind of integrity. I think you need to do your research, soul child. Why don't you go to Google and Google up the barracks attacks in Africa? Okay, apparently you forgot about that one. And I didn't even mention the one in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, 646-652-4869. Give me a call right now. I want to know who your candidate is. We're talking about the primaries. Who's your candidate and why? As a political observer, I have to say that it's pretty theatrical, The political landscape right now is very theatrical. I mean, just look at the Democrats. I mean, they're slinging mud at each other as if they're the enemy. As if they're campaigning against a Republican. And then you got the Republicans who really don't have a clear-cut winner, in my view. Not really a clear-cut winner, but a clear-cut leader. Now, like I was stating earlier, I like the way Fred Thompson came out swinging in the last Republican debate, but, where was he before that, With all due respect, I like Thompson. I like what he stood for. Thought he talked with conviction. I thought he sounded off like he had a pair. But what happened? I don't know. And then you got Duncan Hunter being just completely shut out of any type of media, mainstream media coverage. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. 646-652-4869. We're talking about the primaries. Who's your candidate and why? Who is your candidate and why? Whether you're a Democrat, left-wing, long-hair, liberal, hippie, doesn't matter. Give me a call. I want to know why you're going to support your candidate for presidency. Now, me, I'm still up in the air, to be honest with you. I'm still up in the air. To be honest with you, I really don't care who is the Republican nominee as long as it isn't Ron Paul, and I know for a fact it's not going to be Ron Paul. But I do not want to see any of those Democrats, any of them, in office. They're dividing the country, and they're not even in the presidential election yet. They're not even in the presidential election. Hey, look, guest 721, just give me a call right now. Hey, look, The bottom line, if you support a Democratic candidate, let's discuss it. I want to know why. Who are you supporting there, guest 721? We're in the chat, by the way, if you're just listening in. Who is your candidate? And we're waiting to see who's this. There's a person going by the name guest 721, and of course, more logical fallacies. You know, more logical fallacies here. You see, this is what you get from the left nowadays. You know that. And this is what I've always said. You know, I say that liberalism, modern-day domestic liberalism, is rooted in authoritarian communism. And the reason is that if you have an opposition viewpoint to the left, there's no debate, there's no civil discourse whatsoever. There's just personal attacks like we're seeing here in the chat room, you know, logical fallacies, you know, four-letter words and that sort of thing. I mean, this is a method of agitation that was utilized by the communists. It was invented by the communists. It's absolutely disgusting. Anyway, we got a caller here. 646-652-4869. Give me a call right now. 516 area code. You're on the air, man.
Yeah, I agree with you with most of what you're saying. But you ask why they're voting for Obama. You know, I'm not voting for Obama, but the reason why they're voting for Obama is because they want the government to pay for their college, for their health care, for as many services as they can get.
Well, let me ask you something, sir, and I know you say that you're not voting for Obama, but I haven't heard Obama say anything about handouts. As a matter of fact, I really don't know what he is about. His political platform has been very vague. All I know is that he wants to get out of Iraq, and he wants to open a dialogue with Iran, which is responsible for 75% of the world's terror. Now, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think that Obama is winning because Hillary Clinton was supposedly supposed to win for the past 8 years easily, and she didn't really have to talk much because the media just created her whole persona. But now that she's had to talk to people and people are hearing her, they said, we don't want her, and Obama is taking it.
Now, why do you think that Hillary has been, and believe me, I've seen this. I mean, I watch the mainstream media. I don't take any credence in it. I think in this day and age of the Internet, you can utilize the tool of the Internet to do your own news gathering. But the mainstream media, and I can say this objectively, they have literally made Hillary Clinton, which obviously I've taken much joy in, but they've made Hillary Clinton to be some sort of outcast. Now, why is that? Why do you think that the media is, because they have blatantly given more coverage to Barack Obama, and this man has absolutely said nothing about his political platform. Now, why is that?
Well, like I said, Hillary was a house of cards. It was just a media event that built her up. You know, when she was supposed to run in 2004, they said, you know, if she wants to run, she's probably going to win. And now what happened is that I think the media is seeing that there's so much negative against Hillary, and that if it's Hillary as the nominee, they might be in big trouble. I think they're going to be in trouble either way.
So, do you think that do you think that media is liberal biased?
Absolutely.
And do you think that the reason that the media is getting behind Barack Obama is they actually believe he's electable in the general election?
I can't tell you. I don't know what they're thinking, but I believe they need a Democrat, and they're going with the best one that they think will. They don't have really much of a choice. They have Hillary Clinton, Obama, or Edwards. I mean, you got to choose from one of those, and they're choosing the one they think will be the best. And they really don't have a great choice to choose from. But Obama is a good candidate. He has charisma. He knows how to speak, and people are going with him, so they're going to go with him.
And, you know, I don't deny the fact that Barack Obama is charismatic. He's very intelligent, very well-spoken, and that's great. But he's 2 years into a Senate seat, you know. I mean, Senate seats are 6 years.
Yeah.
He's only been a state representative, and as a matter of fact, his voting record on that isn't very elaborate, if you will. Is articulate, charismatic, is that enough to be a president nowadays?
Well, you know what? That actually is something that should make you nervous, because I think that if someone's speaking and every time they speak, they say exactly what everyone wants to hear, you know, and they continue to do that, and they always say the exact perfect thing, and they always say exactly what everyone wants them, you know, and everything is safe. When someone does that, you gotta believe that they just don't want to freaking really lay down their platform. They wanna just, tell people what they want to hear. It's kind of like what a con man does.
Yeah, and this is what I was making to the comment earlier. Like, I am completely against Dennis Kucinich fundamentally, outright. But I think that man has more integrity than any of the Democratic candidates running for office today, because this is a man that says what he means and means what he says. You're right about the Democrats basically talking out both sides of their mouths. I mean, Hillary Clinton did that in one of the first debates about the driver's licenses for immigrants. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, she literally said 3 different answers in one sentence.
Right.
I mean, is that electability? I mean,
Hillary didn't have to talk, she probably would be winning. If she didn't have to answer any questions and the media would just continue doing what they were doing, she would, I don't think she would win in the national election. I think that Americans are smart, and that the media, it twists the way that they make America look like everyone's Democrat. But I feel good about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Are you a Republican, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, who is your candidate right now? Well, I'm sure you probably haven't really made a full decision. And if you have, please tell us that, or who you're leaning towards.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll go with Thompson. I'll go with Giuliani, because I think that the most important thing is to get rid of the burden of taxes and increase production. And if we produce as much as we can by lowering taxes, then we'll solve all the problems that we have. And
now, sir, as a Republican, is it more important to you? Are social conservative issues more important to you, or are international relations policies more important to you? Or the taxes? Obviously, you stated taxes. Domestic politics as well. What's the key issue that's going to make you vote today?
Definitely, someone has to understand about that reduction of taxes. How that's the key, and international is also key. And my parents are Israeli, but regardless of that, I mean, we have a group called Radical Muslims that are organizing. They have a plan. They're real. They're bombing anyone, not just the West. Their own people are the most oppressed. And we have to freaking face that. We can't ignore it. We can't fight objects like WMD or terror. We have to fight the people that are forcing us to fight them.
I completely agree with that, and I've stated that many times on this program, that we're fighting a war against ideology, against fundamentalist Islam, radical Islam. And what the left, most people on the left don't understand is that this part of the world has been suppressed and subjugated by radical Islam by a little bit more than a handful of dictators. And to let them sit there and continue to subjugate a people, masses of people, into believing that if they strap a bomb to their chest and, blow up as many westernized people or people that don't oblige to their religious theocracy, that's somehow going to give them religious significance in the afterlife. Now, I'm of the persuasion, sir, that George W. Bush is probably, this is in my opinion, one of the greatest presidents around. He had the foresight to understand this problem, and that's why we're in the Middle East. Do you agree, sir?
100%. I mean, Clinton got me into this. Clinton got me into WMD. He's the one that told me that Saddam has WMD. He's the one that bombed Iraq. He's the one that had sanctions and gave speeches over and over again saying that Saddam is going to get weapons, is guaranteed that one day he'll find a way, and he's trying to get them, and we have to attack him, and we have to have sanctions. And then Bush gets elected, and then the UN says we're not complying. Congress votes for Iraq war authorization to use force. They say we don't want we don't need to go to the UN again. They voted against an amendment that would say that we had to go to get another UN resolution. They said we authorize the use of force in Iraq. If Saddam does not comply, the UN came back, Saddam does not comply, we have to act. We can't. If we don't act, we're in big trouble, because we said we're going to act.
Absolutely. Now, do you think that, and I'm of the persuasion also that thinks that the lack of military response during the 90s, with all those terrorist actions implemented on us and all across the international community, the lack of military response during this particular time emboldened the terrorists for them to come across the pond over here and hit us on 9/11. Now, do you agree with that?
Absolutely. That's their tactic. Their tool is to intimidate. That's how the Taliban take over Afghanistan. They intimidate all the people until everyone stays in their homes and does what they say, or they're going to be on the tree, like the guy that was made an example. They teach people through terror, and that's their tactic. That's the way they get power, and they know. And when they use it, if it works, they're going to use it more. And if it doesn't work, they're going to stop.
Absolutely. I completely agree. We're talking here, we're just going on about political subject matters that are going to sway our particular votes, upcoming primaries and in the elections. Give us a call, 646-652-4869. So, sir, you're saying that Fred Thompson and Giuliani are probably your top two picks?
Yes.
And that's based on taxes or on international relations? I mean, what's the main issue that's going to make you vote for a candidate?
Well, I think that if Giuliani is elected, the terrorists will start to shiver. That's what I think. And they will, just like what's going on in Iraq now, they see that the terrorist bombings don't work. They only work if we react the way they want us to react, and we didn't. So they don't work, and the Sunnis said, hey, this is not working. You're just doing bombings, and it's not working, so we stop. Just like a dog will stop barking if you spray water in his face. They will not continue if they don't think that it's going to get the result they want. And when Giuliani's in office, they're going to know they're not going to get the result that they want.
Now, as a Giuliani supporter, are you a little concerned at the fact that some reports came out recently that some of his staffers are going to have to go without pay based on some, I guess, financial troubles, allegedly? I mean, the Giuliani camp is claiming that they still have, what is it, $12 million, but they were asked to not accept checks based on upcoming primaries that have yet to happen. Does that concern you any bit?
It definitely concerns me, but really what I'm focused on is the issues, and, I hope he can stay in the race. I'll go with Thompson. Giuliani and Thompson are my top choices, but it's not like I would be completely disappointed if Romney was elected, but basically we have to see where this is going to go, because right now we don't know. We'll see what happens in this primary now.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's been really great talking to you, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. And good luck to your candidates, and hopefully you're not disappointed come 2008.
Thank you.
You have yourself a good one, sir.
You too.
All right, now you can give us a call right now, 646-652-4869. We're talking about the primaries. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, give me a call. We want to know what is going to make you vote for your candidate. Maybe it's the borders. Maybe it's the war in Iraq, war in Afghanistan, terrorism. We want to know. I want to know what the American psyche is doing and thinking right now that's going to make them go out there and push for their candidate. Now, like I was stating prior, we were talking about Ron Paul and his possibility, and mark my words, he is going to run as a libertarian or an independent. I mean, he has raised too much capital just to say, okay, we're just going to go ahead and go away. He's going to siphon votes away from the Republicans. But recently, I think this past week, it's been said that Mike Bloomberg is, I think he's financing an exploratory committee on possibly running for president as an independent. And even though he's a Republican, this guy is probably one of the biggest social liberals on the East Coast. And I believe that he may cancel out a potential Ron Paul third-party candidacy. I mean, what will happen is if Bloomberg runs as an independent, he'll siphon votes away from the Democrats. If Paul runs as the Libertarian, he'll siphon votes from the Republicans. And I think they may cancel each other out. So I hope that Mike Bloomberg actually does do something and goes out and runs as an independent. Anyway, we got another caller here, 704 area code. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
How you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, just fine.
Who's your candidate, sir?
Well, Duncan Hunter.
Oh, yeah, you know, that's a man who's been basically shut out of all mainstream media.
I know.
And since, you know, we have a pretty good base of people listening in, do you happen to know, which I do you happen to know Duncan Hunter's stance on certain things? Because he actually is probably one of the conservatives, true conservatives, that is being suppressed based on, I guess, electability.
Well, that's what they say. You know, a lot of people that do like Duncan Hunter say that, well, we're just going to go with someone else because he has so little support that we just don't think he's electable. But he does have some great points on some issues. You know, everybody knows about the wall, that he got his legislation passed, and nobody's doing anything about building it. They're holding up the funds for it. He's got some pretty good ideas on making health care competitive. He wants to stop the bleed, you know, to China and start slowing down some of the money going over there. He wants to go ahead and take them back to the table and renegotiate some of these trade deals that we've got with them. That's just absolutely killing our economy, building their military, and you know, it's a bad deal. We're in a real bad deal with them.
So, you're a Republican, sir? I'm assuming you're a Republican.
Well, actually, I'm an independent, but you know, I'm always forced to go with the Republican side because of the there are no independents.
Yeah, obviously.
and you know, and I've never seen many Democrats that I like. I mean, probably Lieberman's about the only thing close.
And you know what's sad about Lieberman, and this just goes to show you the mentality of the Democrats, with all due respect. Lieberman, a man with conviction who means what he says what he means, and because he disagrees with the Democrats on one issue, they basically threw him under the car to get run over. I mean,
well, that's what liberals do. You know, they'll support you until you know, they don't agree with you anymore, and then all of a sudden you're the worst person in the world. All of a sudden you're a right winger.
I thought that was really sad of the left to do that to Lieberman. I mean, wasn't this man the vice presidential candidate for a man that invented the internet? I mean, what happened?
You know, it's like I say, it just goes to show where that party is gone. You know, my dad, I love him to death, but he's always voted Democrat. And when I see what the Democratic Party is, I says, you know, that's just the one thing that you and I just don't agree on.
Yeah, I agree. Now, what's going to be the focal point issue for you to choose a candidate? What's the number one issue that's going to make you vote, sir?
Well, you know, I'm a small business owner. You know, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I fight a lot of issues with local government here. They're not creating an atmosphere that as far as I'm concerned, is good for small business. Now,
in your local government there in Charlotte, is it basically Democrats at the local level?
Well, city council and the county commission, yeah, they're pretty much Democrats. It's a Republican mayor. In fact, he just announced his candidacy for governor.
I see.
Pat McCrory. So that's going to be an issue coming up here in our primaries also.
So when you're saying that they're kind of making an environment that's not favorable to your small business, are they trying to make more regulations? Trying to put some more red tape bureaucracy around you conducting your business?
Well, just an example. I own a sign company.
I see.
They just passed a law that if there's a yard sign someplace, it's a $1,000 fine. And they says that it was a $50 fine. They don't like the way it looks for tourists. And even though that's one of the most economical ways for businesses, especially small businesses, to pull in customers, because the speed limits around here are 45 miles an hour. Hardly anybody, you know, has time to even stop to look to see what's there. You know, and I serve a lot of small businesses in this community that have been hurt by just that. It's like, well, you know, $50 isn't enough of a deterrent, so we're going to charge a $1,000 fine for just having a little yard sign out there.
You know, and that's absolutely ridiculous. You know, I actually talked to somebody who was in Florida. I forgot what the city locale it was, but, you know, it's this type of more government, more bureaucracy, trying to extort money out of the average, everyday American person. Mm-hmm. You know, that they're trying to make it illegal. I forgot what city it was. I might have to do some digging about it, but they tried to make it illegal for you to smoke cigarettes in your own home.
In your
own home. How are you going to enforce that?
Who knows?
I mean, isn't that a prelude to the government just basically coming in and just inspecting your house and basically nitpicking and, you know, just complete invasion of privacy? I mean, is this what the Democrats are really about?
Well, they're trying to do that to me now. The business I have is a home-based business. I got one of those fines, $50, because of January 1st it just became $1,000. That late last year I got that, and then I went ahead and put the sign down. I've got enough customers. I don't need to have it out there anymore. But I just have my name and phone number on my company van parked in my driveway, and they came and just gave me a $200 fine.
On your van? You had it on your van, and they charged you $200 fine?
Yeah, and they told me the next one, if I don't remove that, will be $500 fine and a misdemeanor.
That is absolutely unbelievable.
And I'm just a small business trying to work at home, trying to create jobs, trying to make a living, trying to pay taxes, and trying to be a good member of the community.
I just can't believe that you can't. I mean, and what is this world coming to when you can't have a sign on your car? I mean, isn't that a tax deductible on the federal level?
I watch cars drive by here every day, all day long. I'm on a pretty busy street, and they've all got it. But for some reason, I've been singled out, and I think it is because of the fact that they are so tough on signs, and they happen to see, you know, my sign in the yard, and now I'm a target. So
that's just unbeliable. That is just unbelievable. And I'm sorry to hear that, sir. You know,
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, but it's just something I'm dealing with. But it's just that mentality that starts at the top and it works its way down, and it ends up in the local communities, and it's just that whole liberal mentality that is, you know, killing, guys like me. We just how are we going to go ahead and get to the point where we can afford to not have to have all these subsidies and everything else. I'm like I say, I'm just trying to be somebody that makes an honest living.
Well, sir, you know what? I commend you as an American to trying to be an independent business owner. I mean, that's the essence of the American way. That's why you've got illegal immigrants coming in here in just droves.
Well,
basically, they're coming in here. They're working for whatever, the $3-4 an hour. They're eating, maybe a bowl of rice a day, and within about 2 or 3 years, they're owning business out here.
Oh yeah. Well, before I had the sign company, I owned a auto glass company, and my primary business was used car lots and car dealers and stuff like that. And I ended up closing that business because I was getting so beat up on price because they would come out and install a windshield for like $25 over cost. And heck, it was, it cost me almost that in gas just to get to the job site. So, it was like, that ain't worth doing anymore. So I got into a different business.
I see. And you know what? I commend you for continuing the entrepreneurial spirit. I know that we're in an economic situation that, is making it more difficult for American folks to participate in small business entrepreneurship, and I commend you for that, sir.
Well, thank you. But I mean, that's kind of why I have I've thrown my support in for Duncan. He's, he knows where the money comes from. He knows who he needs to take care of. He's his national security standpoint. He wants to bring manufacturing back. He wants to give tax breaks to these corporations that do manufacturing. What's going to happen if we do have a bigger war than the one that we have now?
Absolutely. Are you of the persuasion, sir, that we are going to go into Iran here in the next month or two?
Well, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, well, obviously, it wouldn't bother me either. I've been calling for that for at least 3 or 4 months now. This is a country that is responsible for 75% of the world's terrorism. And we're just sitting by, and we have a candidate over here on the left, Barack Obama. The only thing I do know about him is that he wants to open up a dialogue with this country, and I think that's the biggest national security mistake in probably U.S. history.
Well, what's the dialogue? We're going to go ahead and give you more centrifuges. If you promise not to use them. I mean, that was what Edwards and Kerry's stand was. Let's go ahead and give nukes to Iran to show them that we're your friends.
No, and I completely disagree with that. 100%, because with all due respect to people that believe that if you open up a dialogue with Islamic radical country like this, that somehow they're just going to be our friends. I mean, they're just not. I mean, they're not going to be our friends. They're going to utilize the nuclear weapons to destabilize the region because these people have a theocratic type of approach to life itself. I mean, they are subjugating masses of people with theocracy.
It was like when he spoke at was it Columbia, and says, "Oh, we don't have gay people in our country." Well, you know why?
Yeah, you probably get your head cut off.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. Well, you know what, sir? I really commend you for being a small business owner, and I thank you very much for calling in.
Gary.
So your candidate is Duncan Hunter.
Yes, he is.
All right. So I'm glad you laid out some issues and enlightened some of the listeners out here that may be on the fence.
Well,
and,
we need to not let the media elect our presidents. We need to come together as a grassroots people and take our country back, give it to someone, and put someone in charge who is going to do the right things. Somebody who has a record like Duncan's, who has done nothing but try and move this country forward. He's strong on the military issues. He's the chairman of the Armed Services Committee. He has a son doing his third tour now in Afghanistan. He knows what it's going to take to win this war on terror. He knows what it's going to take to secure our borders. He knows what it's going to take to bring jobs back to this country. He's going to make this country strong again if we can all just take a look at him, see what he's really about. Fred Thompson and some of these other guys that are the top tier candidates are now starting to take some of Duncan's platforms and initiate them and call them their own.
I noticed that with Fred Thompson this past debate. He just came out of the woodwork, started calling out Huckabee and other candidates on their record. And you're right. I mean, the whole concept of securing the border, that really came down to Duncan Hunter. He was... Would
you rather have the teacher or the schools, or the teachers or the students running the schools? The one who has the ideas is the one that needs to be running them, not those who just happen to hear them and say, "Oh, hey, you know what? That guy's got a great idea." Well, then why didn't you think of it?
Exactly.
You want that person to be your leader, or do you want the person who actually has the ideas to be your leader? Folks, think about it.
I completely agree, and I thank you for calling in, sir, and good luck to you, and, damn those liberals out there where you're at. You have a good night, sir.
Great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Okay.
I appreciate it. You have yourself a good one, sir.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Well, that's independent point of view. Some very serious discussion. A small business owner just trying to make it in America, being halted by left-wing, long-hair, liberal, hippie policy making. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I really don't mind if you're a Democrat, left-winger, right-winger, conservative, Republican. I want you to call in and tell me who you're voting for in the upcoming primaries and who you want your presidential candidate to be. That's what we're talking about this evening. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Give me a call right now. We want to hear from you. We're talking about the different candidates. We just got talking to a man who's supporting Duncan Hunter. And Duncan Hunter, in my opinion, has been one of the overlooked candidates because he's not been able to get the press coverage. He hasn't been able to participate in, I think, I don't even think he was in the last debate, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty sad, It's pretty sad. And there's a lot of credence in what this man said about not allowing the media to choose our president. Because I tell you, I see this every day I turn on the mainstream media. They're shoving Barack Obama down my throat. They're shoving Mike Huckabee. And look, I like Huckabee, okay? He's a personable guy. You know, he's a Southerner. He grew up in Arkansas. But I just completely disagree with his governing policies. I agree, you know, with his social conservatism. And he's backpedaled a little bit on that. You know, they questioned him about his social conservatism on the last debate, and he was just kind of backpedaling so he can win that women demographic, which is a shame. But he's a liberal when it comes to his governing policies. I mean, he obviously wants more government, and that's what Fred Thompson called him out on. Anyway, there's really no clear-cut winner in my view. There's no clear-cut leader for the Republicans. So that's why I haven't thrown my hat in anybody or endorsed anybody on that side. I'm just going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see. It's been very fun as a political observer to enjoy the theater that's happening out here. It's great political theater on both the Republicans and the Democrat side. You know? 646-652-4869. Give me a call. Tell me who your candidate is and why. We're looking here on the chat room here. Guest 730 is saying Ron Paul has good ideas and no one's listening. I think we're all listening there, Guest 730. I think we're all listening. And we're listening to a man who wants to tuck tail and not only get out of Iraq and Afghanistan, he wants to get out of the world, the international community. How responsible is that? I don't understand how that's national security-based responsibility. I just don't understand it. If you're a Ron Paul supporter, by all means, give me a call, 646-652-4869. I want to know why Ron Paul would be good for America. Because, you know, to be honest with you, you're scaring the living bejesus out of me. You know, I mean, give me a break. You know, I mean, some of the stuff he talks about is like out of a fairy tale book. You know, it's just straight out of, you know, a damn fairy tale book. I mean, this is a man that not only wants to get out of Iraq, like I've stated previous, and Afghanistan, he wants to take the troops out of Korea, Germany, Japan. I mean, everywhere where we have a base, he wants to get them out of there. How is that responsible, and how is that protecting the national security of America? I mean, we had a similar policy to this. You know, remember? Bill Clinton, just ignore them and they'll go away. That was his policy on the terrorist. You know? I'm looking in the chat here. I'm seeing more people. The Poor People's CA, he's saying stop the war now. That's just pretty much of a blanketed statement, my friend. Nobody wants to go to war. Nobody likes to see tragedy. But this is a war against ideology. I mean, this is what people don't understand. You know, they just think that, you know, if we just ignore them, they'll go away, and it just hasn't happened. Bill Clinton proved that to us. 646-652-4869. Give me a call right now. Tell me who your candidate is. We want to know whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican. Tell me who your candidate is and why. What's going to make you get out and go vote? What's the single most important issue to you? That's what we want to know. 646-652-4869. Give me a call right now. I'm looking in the chat room. Everybody's yelling about stopping the war. Stopping the war. That's easy to say, isn't it? Stop the war. Isn't that the whole platform of most of the Democrats on the left over here? Stop the war. If you stop the war at this point in time, you're going to only embolden the terrorist. I mean, this was the agenda of Osama bin Laden, folks. He figured that we were a paper tiger superpower, and that if he inflicted enough terrorism on America, that he could dictate the foreign policy of America through terrorism. And this is a war against ideology, folks. We're the sole superior superpower in the international community, and there's an element of responsibility that comes along with that. There's an element of responsibility that comes along with that, and when we see in the Middle East that there's like a handful of tyrants out there that are suppressing masses of people with Islamic radicalism, brainwashing people right when they're born, that if they strap bombs to their chests and kill as many Americans and westernized people as possible, that they're going to be rewarded with 72 virgins. I mean, this is the kind of mentality we're up against. You have people that actually believe that if they kill Americans, if they try to destroy the West, that they're somehow going to have some sort of religious significance in the afterlife. They believe that we're the great Satan. And I think that what we're doing out here right now, implementing democracy, sowing the seeds of democracy in the Middle East, in about 20 or 30 years, all the other tyrannical dictators in the region out there that are suppressing masses of people with fundamentalist Islam, their people are going to rise up against them and say, wait a minute, how come we can't have free elections like they do in Iraq and Afghanistan? How come we can't participate in the free market system? How come we can't participate in freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion? And I believe that this fundamentalist, radical Islamic perspective is going to die off, and democracy is going to spread like wildfire. And this is my opinion, of course. But anyway, I went off on a tirade. We're talking about who's your candidate and why for president. What's going to make you go out and vote? We got another caller here, 312 area code. You're on the air. What's going on? Well, they hung up. They hung up. Probably a liberal. If you're a liberal, please, by all means, give me a call. I want to know who you're voting for and why. If you're a Barack Obama supporter, I want to know why you're a Barack Obama supporter. I want you to get up on here and admit to me that you're supporting this man because you think he's going to win, not based on his politics. Not based on his politics, because I don't know what this man stands for. Can somebody please give me a call and enlighten me, please, why the Democrats are just blindly supporting this man based on one word, change? Change. I just don't get it. And once again, I'm looking here in the chat room. Stop the war, stop the war. That's easier said than done, my friend. It's easier said than done. Oh, here he is again, 312 area code. You're on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a Barack Obama supporter.
Oh, okay, great. I'm glad you called in. Now, do you know what his platform is? I'd like for you to enlighten us on that. Go ahead, sir.
Well, he's got a good platform to unite all people, no matter what color they are, and to bring forth new change, a new direction in America. And
now what does that mean exactly?
Well, we need new open schools. We need new programs to be implemented and everything. We need a whole new government. We need policies that be going on in our communities and our House and Senate to work together and stop playing games with us like the Republicans been doing for the past 8 years.
Now, playing games, how have the Republicans been playing games in your eyes?
Well, with this war.
You're against the war?
Yeah, I'm against the war.
Okay.
I'm against it. We got Arabs here that own gas stations, restaurants, malls, and all that stuff. If they wanted to kill us, sure, we eat their food, we get their gas, we get their oil, we all be dead by now.
Well, it's not necessarily that they want to kill us all, sir.
You said they wanted to kill us all.
No, I said that they want to kill as many Americans and westernized people as possible.
Well, how you know that?
It's based on their actions. Based on their actions.
Do you know that our intelligence, we got the best intelligence here on Earth, United States. Do you know that they already had got the word that some people was trying to run some planes into them doggone buildings and they did nothing?
That is an absolute, that is a false indictment, sir.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You know it's not false. stop saying it's false. They got taps on everybody's phones. Bin Laden and the Bush has been dead for over 20 years, and you know it, I know it, everybody know it. So stop sitting up and talking about what the Republicans is doing. They sitting up there getting filthy, fat, rich like they all already are. What do you have? They are billionaires, man. They billionaires.
So who are you talking about that's a billionaire?
What Bush them ain't done. Dick Cheney them got a doggone contracting company over there right now while the war is going on.
Who is making billions? Name me some names. Who's making billions?
You know who's getting the money. The Bushes and the Dick Cheneys. They got contracts over there while the war is going on. Everything that comes in, their contracting company gets it.
Do you have any documented proof that this is going on?
You know it. It's been all over the news and everything, and all in the papers and everything. You know they got their companies over there. Don't play it. Don't play it.
So you're saying, so this is what you're insinuating. Are you one of these people that are, you ever heard of the 9/11 Truth Movement?
The 9/11 Truth Movement.
Yeah, these are people that believe that somehow the Bush administration had something to do with the towers coming down on 9/11. Are you of that persuasion?
I never heard of that organization, but you need to do some investigating yourself so you can find out instead of just going by what you think you know, because, see, you don't know too much of nothing.
I know exactly what's going on. I understood during the Clinton administration. During the Clinton administration, he did absolutely nothing against the terrorists.
Southern way, we don't need nothing else done by the Southern Christian way no more, because all they was a bunch of damn Ku Klux Klans.
That's just radical. Come on, sir. Come on, sir.
Yes, they was. They was Ku Klux Klan come out and they praise God and go up in the church and then put a white sheet on their head and go out and hang a bunch of black people to kill their babies.
Sir, you're bringing back a history that is long and gone. You're bringing up a divisive issue, sir.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up because it's real.
Nobody is talking about Barack Obama's race, sir.
I'm talking about it to you, sir. Yes, I am. You want to talk about what the Republicans is doing? What they doing? Nothing.
They are fighting the war on terror, sir.
They got a war going on where our troops was not even prepared.
We are fighting a war on terror, a war on ideology. Do you not remember 9/11?
We got a war going on where our troops wasn't even prepared. They went over there, they didn't have enough armor.
That was because of the Democrats. The Democrats ear tagging all kinds of bills and that sort of thing.
Republicans, sir. Yes, it was.
They would ear tag all kinds of pork barrel spending so that they could kill the bill when it came down to the floor, sir.
It was the Republicans, sir.
No, you don't understand how bills are made. Once legislation is brought into committee...
The president said war, they gave him a blank check and said go. He said okay.
I don't think you're informed on the issue, sir, with all due respect.
He gave him a blank check and he went to war.
I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand the war on terror, sir.
Counting the ballots in Florida and everything, and he got a judge to rule in his favor. But then they gave him a blank check and told him to go on to war.
Okay.
We've been war now for how many years?
All right, we understand you hate Bush. Listen, we understand you hate Bush.
I don't hate nobody. I just dislike what they're doing.
Okay, I understand that.
Now, I didn't say hate. You did.
Now, why are you? Now, what is Obama going to do, sir? What is Obama going to do?
He's going to help us all. Give the man a chance. We need new blood in there.
What is he going to do? What is he going to do? He hasn't been explicit.
I'm in the man's mind. You not either.
Well, he's running for the most important office in the world, sir.
It's about time.
And what is he going to do to change?
It's about time. He's going to bring us all together as a rainbow.
Well, I completely disagree with you, sir. I completely and fundamentally disagree, and we're just going to have to end it at that because it's just getting a little bit too much yelling, too much screaming, and that's basically what the left is about right there. It's basically what the left is about. You know, just no substance whatsoever. I'm trying to facilitate a debate with this man, and what does he do? He tries to bring up logical fallacy, divisive issues, you know, and I understand that, you know, America has a kind of a tarnished racial background, but we're in a new day and age. This is the new millennium, all right? I mean, we have a black presidential candidate, so to sit here and bring the race issue involved is just uncalled for. No one has mentioned the man's race. We're talking about the man's policies and his experience. And you see, this is what I was alluding to earlier, that the Democrats are sitting here making a divisive issue. They're dividing the country. If you don't support Hillary Clinton, you're a chauvinist piece of garbage. And obviously, by the last caller, if you don't support Obama, you're part of the Ku Klux Klan. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely, utterly ridiculous. Now, look, I commend the fact that we, as America, have a African-American actually running for the candidacy of presidency. I mean, that goes to show a lot about how far America has come from. And you sit here and say all this nonsense. You notice that they're still fighting Bush. Bush is over. It's gone. I mean, he's out. This is his last year. It's his last year. There's no reason to recant the past. Let's talk about the future. And as you can see, the Democrats are being completely irresponsible with this Democratic primary by dividing the country like this. They're dividing the country. And it's just sad. Somebody should be held responsible over there at the DNC for dividing the country into, oh, well, if you don't vote for Hillary, you're a chauvinist. Or if you don't vote for Obama, you're a racist piece of garbage. I mean, this is the foundation of both of those campaigns, and it's absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Give me a call right now. We're actually trying to talk and facilitate some sort of a substance-filled debate on who you're going to vote for and why. What's the key issue that's going to make you get out and vote for a candidate? We've been talking a lot about different candidates here. Somebody that's been overlooked, Hillary Clinton, and that cackle. That damn cackle. Anyway, look, the only reason I don't like Hillary Clinton is because Bill Clinton ruined this country, all right? He ruined the country, emboldened the terrorists. He basically just, had the just ignore them and they'll go away approach, and that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. And here we go. We're here in the chat room. Once again, this word change keeps coming up when it comes to Obama. The change. We need a change. Change. If I hear change again, I'm going to throw my damn TV out the window. Because that's all I've heard out of the Barack Obama campaign is change. Change what? How are you going to change it, Obama? How are you going to change? I mean, don't you know that we have a system of social order that you have to abide by, Obama? Can you explain to me how you're going to calculate this change by what means? You have to deal with the Congress and the Senate. The House and the Senate, you got to deal with those people. And how are you going to do that when you're so vague on your political platform, nobody knows what the hell you're about? And Hillary Clinton, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I can't believe the Democrats. I cannot believe the Democrat. So I just can't believe it. I mean, you heard the last caller. I mean, do you hear the amount of hatred in that voice? It's hatred. And I'm sure if a woman was listening in, because, the feminists out here, they're backing up Hillary Clinton hands down. They don't care. They don't care what gets in their way. If you don't support Hillary Clinton, you're a sexist pig. Yes, you're a sexist asshole. Anyway, 646-652-4869. We want to know what is going to make you vote for a candidate. What's the number one issue? What's the number one issue that's going to make you vote in this election? Anyway, I just can't believe the left. And people think I'm extreme, People say, well, you know what? You're extreme, Ghost. You're sitting here and making insinuations, all right? Making insinuations about the left that are completely untrue. What's untrue? I mean, the foundation of modern-day liberalism is rooted in communism, authoritarian communism. I mean, the last caller proved to me that you can't disagree, you can't provide a platinum for civil discourse, you can't have any kind of opposition of political views without being yelled at, without being, called a damn Ku Klux Klan member, without being called, every name in the book. And I get this all the time. I go a lot on these internet voice chat communities, try to facilitate debate. And I get this all the time because most of the people that participate in these little online events, they're usually of the left of the persuasion. Left-wingers, liberal bedwetting hippies, long hairs, that sort of thing. And every time I attempt to facilitate any kind of debate, anytime I pose some sort of a question or some sort of an issue, what do I get? I get people telling me, you piece of garbage, you're a right-wing murderer. I have been called everything in the book because I am a true conservative Republican that just wants to facilitate a debate, and I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what your politics are. I just want some debate. Don't resort to the logical fallacies. And you see, this is the key thing that these, and just the Democratic primary goes to show you that both of these candidates, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, are utilizing the method of agitation for their own political gain. And the method of agitation was a method utilized and invented by the communists. There is no debate. You're either going to listen to me and you're going to like my political perspective, or you're a piece of trash, and that's what that's the foundation of the left. I'm telling you. Anyway, 646-652-4869. Give me a call right now. I want to know who your candidate is and why. If you support Barack Obama, please get on the phone, give me a call, and tell me what he is about. I don't know anything about this man other than the fact that he wants to tuck tail and leave Iraq, all right? And he wants to open up a dialogue with a country that is responsible for 75% of the world's terrorism, Iran. That's all I know about Barack Obama. That's the only thing I know. So if you're a Barack Obama supporter, please get all the substance you need. Give me a call, 646-652-4869, and tell me why we need to vote for this man. And please, no logical fallacies like the last caller that insinuated that because I'm against Barack Obama that I'm with the Klan. And that's just the most ridiculous logical fallacy I've ever heard in my life. But this is exactly what the Democrats are doing. This is the kind of politics they're playing right now. And I'm glad that caller called in, because it just proves my theory that modern day liberalism is communism. It's authoritarian communism. If you disagree, you're a piece of trash. You're a racist. You're a sexist. You're a misogynist. You're every name in the book. Let's have some debate, people. The only guy on the left that I have any kind of respect for, and I, like I said, fundamentally disagree with everything this man says, but he means what he says, and he says what he means, and that's Dennis Kucinich. Dennis Kucinich. And I fundamentally disagree with everything that man says, but at least he has the testicular fortitude to admit what he wants. He's not evasive. He's not purposely vague like Barack Obama. He doesn't talk out of the, three sides of his mouth like Hillary Clinton. He isn't a complete hypocrite like John Edwards. Anyway, that's enough about the Democrats, I tell you that, you talk enough about the Democrats, they make you want to throw up nasty chicken grease and corn oil and cream of wheat. I know that's a sick, disgusting thing to say, but it's just as disgusting watching what the Democrats are doing to this country right now and dividing us instead of trying to unite us. It's ridiculous. 646-652-4869. Give me a call. Tell me what is going to be the key issue. The key issue that's going to make you go out and vote for a candidate. Vote for a candidate. Well, guest 822, we were talking about that earlier. We've already been on for about an hour and 15 minutes. And we've been talking about, several Republican candidates. We had a couple of callers. One of them supports Giuliani or Fred Thompson, and another man, small business owner from South Carolina, I believe, North Carolina, something like that. He was from Charlotte, small business owner, telling us that he likes Duncan Hunter and elaborating on Duncan Hunter's platform, giving us some key issues that he's going to vote on. And that's what we want to hear from you. So that's why I challenge you. Give me a call, 646-652-4869. And if you're a Democrat, please, by all means, we want to know why you're voting the way you're voting. I mean, it's great political theater. Great political theater. That's what it is. And here we go, 822 with the logical fallacies once again, All I've heard is whining about the liberals. That's so old. Yeah, well, it's obvious that you're a bedwetting liberal, so it really doesn't matter. I really don't like talking to liberals anymore. I have several liberal friends that we have debates. We have debates, and even they agree with me. Even they agree with me that modern day liberalism is rooted in some kind of authoritarian makeshift communism. You can't disagree with a liberal without a liberal basically resorting to just name-calling, logical fallacies, and it's just sick. Why? Why is that? I mean, the last caller who supported Barack Obama, he just started going off about the Bush administration, and the Bush administration is just about over. It's enough. It's enough. 646-652-4869. Let us know who your candidate is here. Anyway, I hope Bloomberg. I hope Bloomberg runs as an independent because, like I've stated previous, and I guarantee you, mark my word, Ron Paul is going to utilize all that capital generated under the disguise of the Republican cloak. He's going to use that money to run as a libertarian and attempt to siphon votes away from the Republican Party. But I hope that Mike Bloomberg runs as an independent so he can do the same thing for the Democrats. Siphon votes away from the Democrats. I tell you. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. Folks are in the chat room not believing. They don't believe it. And I'm disappointed with the Republican Party, with all due respect, because why and how they were sitting here allowing Ron Paul to run and giving him a platform to spew off this borderline left-wing tuck-tail propaganda is beyond me. It's beyond me. And I'm telling you. And you see, more logical fallacies here. You see? Look at this. Guest 721. More logical fallacies. Sitting here, name-calling. No type of debate ever. Any time you attempt to facilitate any kind of substance-filled debate with a liberal, what are they going to do? They're going to name-call you. They're going to talk about your family. I see this all the time. Every single time I attempt to go to any of these voice chat rooms, like I've stated previous, and try to facilitate debate with the left, because let me tell you, all these little chat rooms are filled with all these little left-wing, long-hair, liberal, bedwetting hippies in here, I mean, they're just filled with them, filled to the brim. And if you attempt to facilitate a debate with an opposition viewpoint, you're going to get what guest 721 is doing in the chat room right now. Calling you an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, it's typical. 646-652-4869. Who is your candidate and why? You know what? Guest 730, I'll tell you what. because I'm getting a lot of flack here in the chat room, and it's really no big deal to me. I'm used to it. I'm used to people sitting here trying to bash me, trying to talk garbage towards me, calling me every name in the book. I'm used to it. I got a pretty thick skin. But I challenge you liberal bedwetters that are just flooding my room with a bunch of propaganda. I ask you, name one credible piece of liberal legislation within the past 25 years that has any type of political significance. How about that? How about that? You know what? You're not going to name one because there isn't one. And, of course, I mean, if all of you folks that are tuning in, if you happen to go across the chat room's located at blogtalkradio.com/ghost. And as you can see, more logical fallacies from the left, More logical fallacies from the left. I'm being called effing a-hole. I'm being called all this stuff. But I hope that you conservative Republicans that are listening in, and we have a lot of conservative Republicans listening in, just take note of this stuff. This is what the left wants. The left is not going to be happy unless they see oral copulation between two men happen across the street from an elementary school and making that the social norm. That's what the left wants. They've made it, the social norm for, women to just shit out about 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers, and that's the social norm. That's liberalism right there and feminism. There it is. And if you don't agree with that, you're a piece of trash, you're an effing a-hole, and everything that that the people in this room are trying to use for logical fallacy purposes, they utilize the method of agitation, like I've stated, which is rooted in communism. It's rooted in communism. If you don't believe me, look at the ACLU, all right? And I want you to do some research if you don't believe me, all right? ACLU, one of the most left-wing, long-haired, liberal, hippie organizations around. Who started that organization? Why don't you take a look at who started it and look at his mission statement for that particular organization. And I guarantee you that you're gonna find the word communism in its mission statement. You see, this is where all this left-wing, long-hair stuff is rooted in. Communism. It's authoritarian communism. It's ridiculous. 646-652-4869. I really hope Mike Bloomberg, like I said, I hope Mike Bloomberg cancels out Ron Paul's libertarian bid. I guarantee, you see a lot of the young Republicans here at the local university, with that stupid V for Vendetta mask. That movie V for Vendetta. Well, they have those stupid masks out there in front of the university. And they have their signs, join the revolution, join the revolution. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that the Republican Party allowed this man a platform to spew off his tuck tail and run attitude. And you know what, Jake Speed Show, I'm glad you brought that up. Because that's exactly the fundamental platform for the liberals. Not only do they want authoritarian communism, they want handout health care. They want everything in the book. They don't care about what's happening to anybody in the United States. They don't care about what's happening to anybody in the international community, just as long as that check's in the mail every week from the government. That's all they want. The foundation of liberalism is they want government to supply them everything. They want them to supply 3 hots and a cot. They want them to supply their house, their car, their job, their wife, their dog, their goldfish. I mean, this is the foundation of what these left-wingers want. And that's not what the foundation of America is. That is not what the foundation of America is. Foundation of America is freedom. All right? It's freedom. And every time I hear these left-wingers just completely spread slanderous, borderline treasonous lies about our country, about our troops, about our president. I mean, these people are basically spitting on our troops, you know, without shedding a tear whatsoever. I just don't get it. Anyway, 646 area code. You're on the air. You imbecile. Absolute imbecile. Absolute imbecile. I'm sure he was a liberal. You see that? I mean, you know, most liberals, they don't have the testicular fortitude to say what they have to say when it comes to a confrontational debate. But they'll sit here and try to cause chaos for the sake of doing it, trying to utilize methods of agitation like you just saw there and in the previous caller. And this is why, folks, us as conservative Republicans, we need to come together. We need to come together and just completely fight back against this liberal agenda. Because it's wrong for the country. This is not what America was built on. It's not what America was built on whatsoever. Anyway, 646-652-4869. Give me a call. We want to know who your candidate is, why you're going to go out and vote. Some people, it's the borders. Other people, it's the war in Iraq. Other people, it's taxes. We want to know what your key issue is and who you're supporting. 516 area code, you're on the air.
All right, Ghost. Dan Moon from Nighttime, New York calling.
How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you there, pal?
Not too bad. Just getting a lot of bashing in the chat room here, but other than that, I'm all right.
Well, you know, if you're not taking a stand on the issues, no one's going to bash you. If you're out there fighting it out, slugging it out, then you're going to have people agitated. So you're doing a good thing. If you have a number of people in the chat room who are outraged, then you're probably making some progress.
Well, I thank you, sir. Are you a Republican or Democrat?
Well, I'm an independent, but I'm going to give you some good news tonight. I'm going to give you some good news of why there is no way in the world that Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton will be elected president.
Oh, I'd like to hear this. Go ahead, sir.
Here's my reasoning. In the last few days, the Obama-Clinton matchup has turned completely racial. It's taken a completely racial turn for the worst.
Oh, you know what, sir? I don't know if you were here for not the past caller, but the caller previous. He was a Barack Obama supporter, and right off the bat, when I asked him, well, what does he stand for? And, of course, he regurgitated the change mantra that he keeps hiding behind with political vagueness. Automatically, he accused me of being somebody from the Ku Klux Klan because I didn't support Barack Obama. And I think there's a lot of credence in what you're saying.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Hillary has, they're going to be heading into South Carolina. The primary is in 2 weeks. There will be, Obama has tried to derive the benefits of being an African American from the liberal mass media without actually being an African American. He's been non-threatening to the liberal establishment and to people in general. But what's happened is that the radical elements of the left, the radical elements in the African American community, they are going to turn this into a completely supercharged, racially divisive contest in South Carolina in 2 weeks. Now, here is my reasoning.
Okay.
If Hillary Clinton wins and she defeats Obama fair and square, if I'm Barack Obama and I'm Barack Obama's supporters, I'm saying to myself, if Hillary gets the nomination, we're going to support her. On the surface, we're going to support her. But we're going to send a subliminal message that being a Barack Obama supporter and voting for Hillary in the general election will mean that Obama will not have the opportunity for 8 more years to run for the presidency. So the subliminal message in the black community, which is the bedrock base of the Democratic Party, will be if Hillary wins, that portion of the Democratic base will walk away from her. They won't vote for a Republican. They simply will not vote. And in my estimation, if Hillary wins the nomination at the expense of Obama, she's finished. There's no way her negatives are already at 50%. If your negatives are at 50% and you have your base walks away from you, that votes 90% of the African American community votes Democratic. If they walk away from you, if they stay home, you're finished. So that's my reasoning. If Clinton wins the nomination, she's finished. On the contrary, if Obama wins the nomination, the Hispanic community, which is notoriously, I wouldn't say.
It's definitely pretty mixed, the Hispanic community, because I know this for a fact. They actually vote more on social issues than anything else, which is religious type of rhetoric.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying is that if Obama gets the nomination, then the Hispanic community and the Hispanic vote will be in play for the Republicans. And also, if this turns divisively racial, which I know it will.
You're already seeing overtone of that currently.
Oh, it's coming, and it's going to be, and I feel sad because, like for instance, I'm a New Yorker, and here in New York, we had a horrendous period in the late 1980s into the early 1990s of just vicious racial divisiveness, and that period seems to have passed here in New York. It's a good time to be a New Yorker. It's a good time. All of us seem to be pulling together now, and I see this coming. And to me, it just brings pain to my heart to see that we're going to go through that. For instance, Obama has separated himself from the radical elements within the African American community, from Al Sharpton, from racial hucksters and vicious racial hucksters like Sharpton. He is going to have to go to them. He is going to have to, at some point, go to them and get their support in order to overthrow Hillary. And it's going to be a vicious and divisive time coming up into this election. And in my estimation, Hillary will probably win the nomination, and the African-American community will stay home.
You know what? I think there's some credence in that. And I also think not only is there racial overtones as it pertains to the Barack Obama campaign and the Clinton campaign, but I also think there's an element of sexism. You've got a lot of females out here that are supporting Hillary Clinton, and I've had backlash on this on many chat communities when I've attempted to facilitate debate about Hillary. Automatically, I'm a sexist pig because I just don't want to vote for Hillary. I mean, do you think there's any credence in that as well?
I think there's a certain amount of people who won't vote for a woman under any circumstances. There are a certain amount of people who won't vote for a Mormon. There are a certain amount of people who won't vote for an African American or a Catholic. There are certainly an element there. I think that, like for instance, I would vote for Condoleezza Rice tomorrow morning for president.
Absolutely.
I have no issue in that regard. But it's going to be. There are so many elements in play. There's the racial aspect, the sexist aspect. It's going to be a fascinating dynamic to see how this all plays out.
Absolutely. I think it's great political theater, especially on the left, because you have so many. I mean, first of all, I think it's kind of bad in a way because it's setting the country on a bad direction. Instead of uniting the Democrats, they're fighting amongst each other based on scholastic issues that really have no credence in this day and age, because I think that we're beyond racial boundaries. I think we're beyond sexist boundaries, and I think they're just trying to bring this back up to benefit their own campaign. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with you, and the real irony of it is that the Democratic Party has used race, class, and sex as a bludgeon to bludgeon the Republican Party and to bludgeon conservatives for decades, and yet it's come down to it that what will rip the Democratic Party to shreds over the coming months is issues of race and sex and sex. And so
and that's just a shame.
highly ironic.
That is just a shame. I mean, does this benefit the Democratic Party in the long run? I mean, and I'm not just saying this election, but I mean in elections of the future. I mean, oh, go ahead, sir.
Well, I think it's just the country is the loser. Personally, are losers in this. Anyone who's an American, that this is going to be really a low point in politics and in American history coming up. I think it's just tremendous. Yes.
Oh, hold on, sir. You're cutting in and out, sir. Could you say that again?
Okay. Yeah, I believe that we're going to be dragged into a tremendously vicious cycle here, a vicious vortex that we haven't seen since the OJ trial. You know, when the OJ trial, I looked at the trial and saw one thing, and my friends who are African Americans saw something completely different. And
I mean, and why can't America just move away from this issue? I mean, you know, I think that the race issue should be long and gone by this point. Now, do people have certain prejudices? I'm sure they do. But I just don't think that it's as bad as the turbulent racial past that the United States has had. I mean, you know, we have a Democratic nominee for president that's African American. I think that's revolutionary. We have a woman Democrat running for the presidential nomination. Now, why? I just don't understand for the life of me why these people on the left think that this is a good idea to bring race and sex into the equation when electing a candidate. I mean, I thought this was politics. I thought we were supposed to discuss the issues and that sort of thing.
Well, politics, when it comes right down to it, is a brass-knuckle sport. And when it comes right down to it, when the African-American community sees that prize within their grasp, if it's taken away, if Clinton wins the nomination, that will not be forgotten. In my mind, I was on BTR a couple of days ago, and I likened Hillary Clinton, to Marsha Clark, who was Marsha Clark, who was the
prosecutor
in the OJ trial. And I saw one thing with Marsha Clark. I saw that she was a professional doing her job, prosecuting a guy who was obviously a double murderer. My African American friends saw a white, and I'll say the word witch, a white witch persecuting a powerful black man. That's what they saw for the most part. And in this situation with Hillary Clinton, that's exactly what will happen, is the viewpoint of and when I say the African American community, I'm not speaking in a monolith. I'm saying that from a cultural standpoint, the American motif has been white women making false allegations against black men who step out of their role, who don't know their place. That's the historic context in which I put this Hillary Clinton-Obama contest. And that motif fits this situation perfectly.
It's a shame.
And it's to me, it's very, very depressing. And I was very proud. 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with someone that said, you know, it really is to be a foreigner, to be looking in at the American political system, and to see a Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, fighting it out for the Democratic nomination for the presidency. Said, I wouldn't vote for either one of them, but it makes me proud to think that this is actually happening. But now I see it devolving and degenerating into a cultural disaster for our country. And
I completely agree with you, sir. I completely agree with you. This is not healthy for the social ramifications of this country whatsoever.
Well, you know, there's a great article if you go to Instapundit, .com. There's a great article concerning this issue tonight that was just posted, and it's the whole idea that this is really devolving. That what Obama should do at this point, if Obama wants to save his candidacy, he has to step up in the next few days, in the next 72 hours, the next 3 days. He has to step up, and he has to say to these radical elements within the African American community, no, you are not going to turn this into a racially divisive contest. Like, for instance, the stupid things that Hillary said about Martin Luther King the other day, and the foolishness that Bill Clinton got involved in as far as speaking about a fairy tale.
Yeah.
That was the word he used. That was in no way racial. Yet it was anything.
It was definitely given a racial context by a lot of people, and the mainstream media is just basically riding that roller coaster, and I see it every single day.
Oh yeah, it's going to devolve into it. Well, put it this way: if you're a Republican, or if you're interested in seeing a Republican win this presidential cycle, put it this way: I'm not happy. I'm a supporter of Rudy Giuliani, and I have been for a long time. But I'm not happy that this is happening. I don't want to win the presidency. I don't want Giuliani or McCain to be elected. And the day that they're elected, that 12% of the American public, the entire African-American community, feels disenfranchised and feel like they were wrong. That's no way to set this country on the course where it should be heading. And it's just a sad commentary that this has devolved into, and particularly going into South Carolina. By the time the South Carolina primaries happen in 2 weeks, you'll see everybody down in South Carolina, just like they were down there for the Janet 6, that they turned a small incident into an enormous racial gravity, like a gravity-pulling racial incident. And I think you'll see in 2 weeks every major organization, every black organization, every black radio station, every African-American organization that has any ability to organize, send people into South Carolina. And it's going to be just an enormously divisive situation.
Unbelievable. And it's sad that here we are, 2008, 8 years into the new millennium, and we're still dealing with stuff that, geez. I just don't even know what to say.
I know. I would like to say to myself, well, there's a way out of this. But sometimes you let the genie out of the bottle, and there's nothing that can be done. And in this situation, this is a collision that is going to happen. There is no way that the Clintons can avoid it. Anything that they say about Obama will be twisted into some kind of a racially divisive remark. And Obama, I find him to be a likable guy. I also see him to be presidential in the sense that I could see him as president, not now, but in 4 years, 8 years, in that role. I disagree with his policies across the board. I think he's wrong on numerous issues, but I also think that he has the ability with the right people around him to have his worldview reshaped a bit into a more realistic viewpoint and a more realistic view of the way the world actually is. But I don't find him to be the disgusting, despicable, horrible person that Hillary. I would vote for. I'm not kidding around. I saw Charles Manson on TV a little while ago. I'd vote for Manson before I'd vote for Hillary.
He'd vote for Charles Manson before he'd vote for Hillary, huh? Well, I tell you what, who's your candidate for this election?
Well, I'm a supporter of Rudy Giuliani. I've been supporting him, since his exploratory committee was formed. He's the guy who has the ability to handle the presidency. I would vote for John McCain. I would vote for Thompson. I couldn't vote for Huckabee. I think Huckabee is just not a guy who has the intestinal fortitude to deal with the issues that are at hand.
And what do you base that on?
Well, Huckabee. Well,
Huckabee not having the intestinal fortitude. I'm just curious.
Well, here it is. These people he released from prison. The fact that he gave clemency to someone who was convicted of a serious crime leads me to believe that he does not understand how the real world works. He doesn't understand how evil works. And for him to be bamboozled by sociopaths who adjust their lifestyle in prison in order to make this type of appeal, and for a guy like this to fall for that, and to allow these people out of prison, these violent felons out of prison, says to me that his mind is not in the right place, that this is not a man who can deal with Vladimir Putin, This is not a man who can deal with Ivan al-Zawahiri or deal with these radical elements in Pakistan. He's not tuned into them. McCain is tuned into them. I believe Thompson is tuned into them. Giuliani has proved that he is tuned into them. He understands what they're thinking. He understands that mass murder is their ultimate goal. They've already done it, not once, but a number of times. And I don't think Huckabee is the type of guy that I want in the White House. I don't want him sitting next to that red phone when it starts to beep.
I see. And, that's a very, very good and valid point. To be honest with you, that's a very good judgment call based on his previous actions, particularly letting out all those jailbirds, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, it just signifies in my mind that you're not a serious person when it comes to violence. It's one thing, people say, I'm going to punch this guy in the face, or I'd like to strangle this guy. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to be prepared to do it. And John McCain, the one thing, when Ronald Reagan came into office, the reason that 15 minutes later the hostages were released was that they understood that Ronald Reagan was not Jimmy Carter. Ronald Reagan was not a peanut farmer. Ronald Reagan was a guy who was going to walk into the White House, and before he took off his coat, the first thing he was going to do was pick up the phone and order some serious military action. And they understood that.
I see.
A guy like Huckabee, come on.
Yeah, I can see where that particular opinion has credence. Well, it's been great talking to you, sir. I thank you very much for your insight. I think it's a very good observation what you're witnessing here, the divisive issues by the Democrats, and this is a documented little program here, and if your premonition comes to play, you can definitely take credit for it, sir.
Well, I wouldn't say credit. I would say that it's like waiting. It's like standing on a highway and watching a car about to crash and not being able to do anything about it. That's the feeling I get tonight. I don't think certainly it's demoralizing from an American, as just one American speaking tonight. Absolutely.
Well, I thank you very much for voicing your opinion, sir. And you have yourself a pleasant evening.
Keep up the fight.
Thank you very much, sir. You too. Have a good night. Well, as we can see, everybody is pretty much basically getting the issue here that the Democrats are being completely irresponsible with their campaigning. We have this caller that believes that when it comes down to it, race is going to be an issue. And I'm looking in the chat room here. You see it all over the chat room. Race, and it's just a divisive issue. Folks, we're in 2008. This isn't 1940s or 1950s, race shouldn't even be a factor. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even bring it up. I didn't even bring up this issue. I had an Obama supporter call me up here earlier in the program, and because I didn't support Obama, I was called a Ku Klux Klan member. I was called a racist. Is this the way the Democrats want to take our country? Is this responsible? Is it responsible leadership? I don't think so. Anyway, folks, we got a little bit over 10 minutes left in the program. We're talking about the different candidates running for president, both on the Democrats and the Republican side. We had some pretty good opinions from a lot of people. We'd like to get yours. What is your number one issue that's going to make you go out and vote? 646-652-4869. Give us a call. Like I said, I'm looking here in the chat room, and you can reach me at blogtalkradio.com/ghost. And I'm looking in the chat room here, and once again, it's racial overtones. Racial overtone. Here we got guest 730 saying, and the media makes it racist. Whites run the media. Go figure. This is the kind of commentary we're getting inside the chat room, and I just don't think it's responsible for the Democrats. And I think that the last caller, when he stated that Barack Obama should come out of his shell and say, hey, wait a minute, we shouldn't make it about racial overtones. We shouldn't make it about a race issue. We shouldn't make it about a gender issue. We should debate about the facts. about our policies, but I can guarantee you that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen, and it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. I mean, and come election time, I think that what it's going to come down to, it's just going to be, like the last gentleman said, the last caller said, it's going to be similar to the damn O.J. trial. And as you can see in the chat room, all kinds of racial overtones, and it's horrible. Now, guest 835 is asking, what do I think about Huckabee's tax plan? I don't think about it. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I agree with Huckabee's social issues. I'm a social conservative, but he's liberal when it comes to his governing policies. I mean, the last caller just reminded me of the fact that this man let go of all these prisoners out in the streets. Just let them go. Just give them clemency. We don't need a president that shows leniency towards those that harm other people. Anyway, 646-652-4869. Give me a call. Tell me who your candidate is. We're talking about the Democratic primaries. We got about 10 minutes left here in the program. It's very interesting debates here. Very interesting debates. We got the Jake Speed Show saying the left debates emotions, the right debates the issues, and I couldn't say it any better than that. I couldn't say it any better than that. And just to prove my point, like I've stated over and over again, I challenge all of you. If you don't believe me, go into one of these voice chat communities where they, have this little voice chat programming, so to speak, and go into a political chat room, okay? Because they're all dominated by the left. Just go into a chat room and just try to facilitate some sort of debate with an opposition viewpoint to all the left-wingers in those rooms. And you know what you're going to find? You're going to find logical fallacies. You're going to get called all kinds of names. Your family's going to get talked about. You're going to be called every name in the book because you don't have the same political perspective as those on the left. I just challenge you to go do it, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's just a sad day. It's a sad day in America where we're sitting here, we're in 2008, and we can't have a civil debate, a discourse on the issues. Like I stated earlier, I don't see a clear-cut winner, or a clear-cut leader, I should say, in the Republican side. I don't see a clear-cut leader, obviously, on the Democrat side. So, as a result, it's been great political theater. Great political theater. And we've had some great commentary from the average person just listening in, and I really appreciate all of the people that have called in this evening. You've really provided some great insight. You've given us some reasons why you're voting the way you're voting, what's gearing your particular political persuasion, the issues that affect you the most. And we found some serious good discussion this evening. And it's great. We got a little bit left. We got about 7 minutes left on the program. I want to hear from you. 646-652-4869. We want to know who your candidate is. Who your candidate is. Got a lot of Ron Paul fans. Like I've stated, mark my word, Republicans, he is bad news for the Republican Party. He is bad news. He's raising a lot of capital. He ran under the Libertarian Party in the 80s, and I guarantee you he's going to utilize all the capital generated with the disguise of the Republican cloak. He's going to use that money and run as a Libertarian and attempt to siphon votes away from the conservative Republican Party. That's why I support the possibility of Bloomberg running as an independent, because I believe that Bloomberg is such a liberal. Even though he's disguising himself as a Republican, I think he'll siphon votes away from the Democrats. And Ron Paul and Mike Bloomberg will cancel each other out, and we'll definitely have an election. And I'm very disappointed in the Republican Party for allowing Ron Paul the forum to spew off his tuck tail and run strategy, his isolationist strategy. We don't need isolationism. We don't need tuck tail and run away and hold hands with the terrorist and sing Kumbaya. We don't need that kind of garbage. What we need is we need a candidate that understands that the war on terror is a battle of ideology, and if we just have a pacifist approach, just like Clinton administration did during all the times we were pop-shotted by the terrorists, they're not going to go away. They're not going to go away. And this is what scares me about Barack Obama, because I really don't know much about this man, even though he's on the TV almost 24/7. And the only thing I know about him is he keeps saying this word, change, 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 change. I mean, literally, I'm thinking about beating my head with a billy club every time I hear the word because it's getting on my nerves. But all I know about this man is that he wants to tuck tail and get out of Iraq, and he also wants to open up a dialogue with a country that is responsible for 75% of the world's terror, and that's Iran. And I think that is irresponsible, absolutely irresponsible. Well, we got about 4 minutes left on the program. I wanted to thank everybody who's listening in. Please give me an email if you'd like, or you can reach me at blogtalkradio.com/ghost. That's GHOST. This is True Conservative Republican Radio. True Conservative Republican Radio for Republicans that still believe in Republican values, that still believe that the American family is something worth saving, that still believe that America has the strongest military on the face of the universe, who still believe that we are the greatest social experiment on the face of the planet. That's what this program's all about. I'm just trying to facilitate debate. And look, I know that there's a lot of left-wingers that don't like the fact that, hey, you left-wing, long-hair, liberal hippies, and all the things that I say, but that's tame in comparison. That is very tame in comparison than what these liberals say to me all the time. I mean, the next show I have, which will probably be tomorrow, same time, if you listen to these people, you're going to get a whiff of what I have to take on a consistent basis. We got 3 minutes left in the program. We got one more caller, 920 area code. What's going on?
Hello, my name is Asher Heimerman of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
That sounds good. I wanted to know, I was having trouble with my computer listening to your show, but did you say who you are supporting for the Republican race?
Well, like I've stated, there's no clear-cut leader at this point. I'm a social conservative, and the only social conservative on the ticket is Mike Huckabee, and he's a liberal when it comes to his governing policies. I kind of like what Fred Thompson said in the last debate, but I'm still up in the air, and I'm waiting to see, who's going to pull through and who has more substance to their persuasion, if you will. Who is your candidate?
I'm actually an independent Democrat, and I'm going for Barack Obama of Illinois.
Okay, and based on what?
Just his record of leadership when he was elected senator to his state.
Okay.
And I think he can lead this country. I believe he can lead this country
in the right direction.
Okay. So Barack Obama, and what's the issue that's making you vote for Barack?
I can't vote for him, actually. I'm actually 14 years of age.
Oh, okay.
But
so what would be the issue on the reason why you'd vote for him?
Change.
Change?
Change in Washington.
I see. Okay, well, we're about to go off the air. I really appreciate your call. I appreciate the insight, and keep being political.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Anyway, folks, We've got 1 minute left on the program. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to probably be doing a show tomorrow around the same time, just to keep up to date. Bookmark blogtalkradio.com/ghost. Go ahead and, keep up to date with every show that I'm going to do. I'm providing a true conservative radio alternative to what's mainstream nowadays, and at the same time, I'm trying to provide a platform for people to debate. I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in, whether you're Democrat, whether you're Republican. We're all Americans, folks. We can agree to disagree. Just as long as we provide civil discourse, we can learn from each other. We may not change each other's minds, but we can learn from each other. I'd like to thank you once again, and I am out of here. God bless all of you. God bless the strongest country on the face of the universe, the United States of America, and I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Good night to you all, and God bless.